All right, welcome into Gridiron Icon, the podcast. I am joined by my partner in crime, the better half, Mr. Preston Denard. How are we, my friends?
I am good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm so glad to be here and especially to visit with our guest this evening. So I'm looking forward to it.
It turns out we have got a teammate and a very important one. I am so excited about this. Folks, our guest was drafted in the third round of the 1978 NFL draft. He then won the place kicking duties for the Los Angeles Rams in his rookie season. And then he went on to lead the NFL in scoring? How was that possible? He added punting chores to the list. He was the whole special teams team in 1980 and 81. And he remains the last NFL player to have been both the starting place kicker and punter for his team. Rams fans will know who I speak of, the great, the iconic Mr. Frank Corral. Welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, you still get the applause. Frank, welcome, my friend. How are you?
Hey, brother, it's always nice when we met up at SoFi and now.
Yep.
You know, it's
Yeah.
oh my God, it's like, I mean, we were roomies, we were teammates.
Whoa.
We're so, I mean, everything. Preston,
Yeah.
Dawson, and Peacock. I hope you've been in touch with him.
I can't find him. I wish,
well,
hey,
you know,
somebody out there find Elvis
We
Peacock
need,
for us.
we need to get a hold of Elvis.
Yeah.
Those were the roomies. And
Yeah.
gentleman right here, if I may,
You may.
Please.
my former teammate was the one in that room that shined the light and the only undrafted one of all.
Oh, bless your heart, baby.
I tell you, Preston doesn't know this because I've never shared this. I was sitting at the field at Fullerton with Klosterman, which was our rookie year. And I was just sitting in his little golf cart and we're talking. And he said, look at that guy right there. And he's just skies up. He goes, look at how he just goes up and gets that ball and And he's talking about veterans, you know. And this is the truth about the NFL. He said veterans just don't want to go up in the middle and don't want to go up high. And this kid was, and he was a kid. We were all kids.
Babies.
Went up in that middle at no regard. And, you know, receivers don't like doing that, especially when the quarterback throws that ball up in the air. You know you got to go after it, and you know something's coming up.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
But Klosterman gave him the biggest compliment, and I'll never forget this, Press. He said, look at this. That's a young stallion going up. He's hungry, and look who's coming down with it. And pressing, boom. And immediately, once he came down, obviously, he had 3 DBs and a safety on him. Boom.
Love it.
The thing he had was a drive, and I think those couple of years we had with the Rams, brother, we had that.
I mean, I think what, for Rams fans that are listening in on this little show, I think what blows my mind about that, first, I idolize Preston. I'd like to balloon his head up and remind him of that all the time. But to think about the DBs that he was practicing against too, good grief.
He had some awesome DBs. I mean, and he shined amongst them.
Yeah.
That goes to show the complete. We had a pretty good little team that nobody. I mean, we kind of snuck around in there because nobody paid attention.
Okay.
I love those teams.
This show is not about Preston Denard. It's about Frank Corral. And I'm taking time away from you. They want to hear about you. Okay, so I'm going to start it out, and we're just all off script, but Stacy's going to bring us back. But I'm going to tell a little story. So, yes, we were rookie teammates and roommates. Frank, I believe, was in the front room. Was that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Reggie Dawson and I were in the back room. And it truly ended up being us 3 left in the room. Stacy, I may have told this. And so it was the last cuts.
Right.
And the Turk.
Uh-oh.
Was coming
I haven't heard about the Turk in such a
long time, right? So the Turk was coming. Happened to be Jack. And he was coming down to find a player. And so this was early in the morning, before we went to breakfast and everything. They come in the room, and you could just hear. We're in our individual rooms. It's like an apartment at Fullerton. It's got a common living area, but we all had bedrooms. And Reggie Dawson and I were roommates in one room, and Franco had the front room. Obviously, he had the room by himself. He was a number 3 pick. Okay, so anyway, so Jack comes in, and I don't know if he goes to Frank's door first, but he had to know he was in there because he drafted him. But he came to the back room, and the door opens.
Uh-oh.
And Reggie and I are nervous. We both sit up in bed because we know somebody's getting cut in here. And Jack says, he sticks his head in, he looks at Reggie, he looks at me, and he goes, you know where so-and-so's room is? We broke up, we cried, we jumped, we were excited. We were here, baby. But technically, I did get cut because they had to make room for 4 weeks. And then the 2 starters got hurt, and that's how I joined the team. And became great teammates with Frank. I was on his special teams. I was actually, let me see if I remember, I was the left end on the punt team. I was on the kickoff team because he did all that.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't on field goal, but I was on field goal block. So just exciting. Frank, let's regroup. Let's start this thing over.
All right.
Start with you, my friend. Tell us how you got started, introduced to sports, and when did football become a big play in your life?
Oh, my goodness. We just shared that. Well, listen, right now I sleep with a fan. But anyways, my voice, is it pretty clear? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Sound great. I do that too. Full confession.
Oh,
I don't. I hate it.
Oh, I love it.
hey, listen, although we made a little bit of money, brother, we didn't make that much money. We didn't make that much money.
Yeah.
Right.
The darn electric bill and the gas bill, I'm fighting. I'm trying to be an advocate. We're over here fighting in the city hall and all that good stuff. I've been involved in government for about 30 years after I left.
Wow.
I retired. Well, COVID retired me, and I'll share that later on. But high school. You know, Preston. I kind of grew up in East LA.
Yep.
And I should have, if we didn't move in 1969 to Riverside, I would have gone to Garfield. And there's a big old rivalry over there between Garfield and Roosevelt in LA. And so that's a big rivalry. But I'm still a part of the middle school. And in LA, the middle school went up to the 9th grade. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to Riverside in 69. High school started in 9th grade. So I never promoted. I never promoted from middle school to high school. I went straight from a middle school in LA, all predominantly Latino, to a high school in Riverside, predominantly white. I think there was one black family. No, there was 2, and 2 Latino families. The rest was white. I'm telling you, I went to the chow line over there one time, and I said, hey, can I have a burrito? They go, what's that? I said, chorizo, da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, we don't have that, but we have grinders. I said, well, what the hell is that? Oh, it's cheese and ham and mayo and no, thank you. But that's how I got introduced to Norte Vista. Now, my freshman year, I signed up, of course, and I got cut. They told us to, put on their little skimpy little shorts. Remember those
70s shorts?
I look at Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and they're going up, and they got those skimpy shorts we had, Preston.
It's true.
Before I even got on the field, my name was on the list to get cut.
Wow.
So I got cut.
Did you?
Really?
Yeah.
On the football?
And
this is the football team.
Correct. And the coach addressed it. He said, you're Latino, so he didn't say it like that. So you need to be playing soccer.
Oh.
And I said, and that's my first love. And I said, you know what? Shoot, this just eases me into that, right? So I didn't take it so hard up until when he needed me and he seen me playing soccer, and his kicker, punter, whoever he was, he actually became a good friend of mine, got hurt, and he was a straight-on kicker. The little square toe.
Yeah.
And so he asked me, we need a kicker. And I looked at him and Preston, I was a cocky sucker. So I told him where to go and how to pound sand. So basically, he was the athletic director, the head coach. And he said, if you don't try out for the team or come out, you can't play soccer.
Oh,
typical Jordan story, man. But Jordan's is beautiful. Wow. Mine is just a typical little country city that I just try to maneuver, and then it happened. The same thing happened at junior college at RCC.
Wow,
really?
Yeah, the same thing happened. And so it wasn't until my second year, and it had a lot to do with my folks. And my mom said, you know what, you're going to let one guy just change your whole journey, dream, your goals.
Love it.
And
Love
so
it.
I went back up to RCC. I missed out a year. Went back up and got on the field. Coaches kind of like, oh man. They came up and I said, look, I'm already enrolled in school and I'm going to try out. After I try out, you tell me if I belong or not. That's simple. No BS
for
about
you.
it. Well,
Right.
and the rest is, RCC my first year, second year All-American. And then, I had the schools after us. I chose UCLA because I grew up in East LA. Grew up
Really?
looking at John Wooden, the pyramid of success, everything Wooden stood for. But I was going on a platform. I actually got a scholarship for soccer.
Really? To UCLA?
To UCLA.
UCLA.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so, yes. And so that allowed the team, as you know, that extra player on the football team.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I think that it has to be mentioned here for our listeners that this guy was a busy guy. You were a 6-sport athlete in high school. 6? Like
Sheesh.
what?
How did you do that?
Frank, did you sleep?
I think tennis was the only place that they just needed a body.
Oh, and you presented a body, didn't you?
Oh, no.
Oh, my
Oh,
boy.
no.
But you know what? It takes all that stuff, and that's what we tell the kids, Preston. You know this.
Yeah.
The more you know, the better off you are, and then just go out there and give it your all.
Yeah.
We come up with Dion here pretty soon, Preston. UCLA,
Mhm.
and it is, and I got to take away a little bit from here, Stace.
Oh, yeah.
He's coaching Colorado, right? And UCLA plays them at the end of the month of October. And so I just started trying to get some tickets. And they go, well, is he a former teammate? Da, 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 da. I said, no, but we played. Shoot, what I'm trying to say is that this kid or this person has done so much for the sport. And correct me if I'm wrong, Preston. And he's done so much for the thing I need. I know people take him so way out, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you put yourself in his shoes and what he's had to go through, and I look at it, what my journey has brought me to and to this point, oh my God, I'm so proud of that man. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Good
yeah.
for you.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
I agree.
I know people look at it differently, but you know what? He's doing it.
Yep.
You can take it either way. And
Yep.
people look at him like, oh no, he's arrogant. He's this, he's that,
Nah.
he's this. And where I caught him, and not to, was when he said, I look up to Saban when they do that little Aflac commercial, I guess, and he's my idol. But he is one person. If you just take a step back a little bit, that's going to change the game of a lot of things here coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree.
So back
Yeah.
to my former teammate up there.
Well, one of the things, just to tag on that, we're dealing with a different kind of athlete these days.
Yep.
Growing up and coming out of high school. And so you've got to have coaches that, not the ones that's been there for 15, 20 some odd years. You need somebody that can address these kids. And I've been a coach myself. Frank, I know you've worked with some athletes. But let me tell you, it's one thing to be us, but we got to have a little flexibility because sometimes the language, there's a big barrier there. But these kids are more aggressive. They speak up more. They know what they want. I do believe there's some things that aren't really cool today. They really got to get a hold of that marketing concept that they're doing with these athletes. But other than that, you are so correct. We just need a fresh taste because he's going to embarrass some people. I don't care what you say. He's going to embarrass some people who and I don't know why Jay. Well, that's another story. So Frank, let's get back to you. I mean, you got to get me going, man. All right. So here's what I want to know. You played a multiple number of sports, and I know I played 4 sports, but I was able to bounce from baseball and go long jump or be in an inning and then go run the hurdles or something like that, and then go back. All right. And then I had to get rid of that. But How did you manage all that?
Preston, my sports went up to the end of high school.
Okay.
That's the tops of basketball, track, and even tennis. But when I got into college, I had a mentor that just said, look, if you can just hone your skills to what you love, which was kicking a ball, playing soccer, he said, now concentrate on the trajectory to getting that ball up. See, in soccer, you're used to kicking the ball down and keeping it down so you can score the goal or make the pass. If you notice nowadays, those professional soccer players keep that ball straight on that ground, boy. It doesn't even lift. It just so he just taught me, and he said, and get off that tee, because in college they used to use that tee. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And so right around my junior college, I threw that tee out and I started kicking off the ground.
Man, that's
So
sweet.
when I got into UCLA, it was a piece of cake.
Well, you know what? That's unique, and because my fourth son all my boys were kickers, but my fourth son went to college as a specialist. He played wide receiver in high school just as a novelty thing, but he was a specialist. And you know what he did, Frank, in high school?
Oh.
Gave him the tee his freshman year. He threw that thing away. He said, Dad, I like kicking off the ground. I said, really? I said, okay. And he could kick off the ground. When he was being recruited, that was the reason he was being recruited, because he was out of the box. He wasn't like everybody else, and he was kicking the ball and getting it up off the ground. He ended up going to junior college at Palomar. His coach turned him into a punter. So he could do both, and I kept begging him to do both. But that's what I want you to address. Today, I don't know if coaches are really game for that two-position player anymore. I think they want them to focus on stuff. Is that what you're finding?
Yes, I know that Heckler with the Rams.
Yeah.
He was their punter. He kicked a game or maybe in 2 games. But I'll tell you what, just the different muscles. Preston,
Yeah.
I have 2 hip surgeries.
Oh.
I'm telling you, because of the torque that it takes. It's totally different. The punting, back then you can get away with a soccer style punt where you just roundhouse it, right? But this punting, if you want to get that baby straight, is like the Ray Guy technique.
Yeah.
You gotta just get that baby, drop the ball in the instep of your foot, and just hit that baby and follow through. They don't do that now. What they're doing is pointing the ball down and trying to spin it. So you know what? The best thing to do is put it to the sidelines. Punt it to the left, punt it to the right. Save your players, because we got kamikazes going down.
Yeah.
These boys are going down kamikazes, and those boys at the receiving end don't have a chance. We're coming full speed, and that's a better thing than cutting off the yardage on the kickoffs and this stuff like that. Have the punters go back to the sidelines. It's such a beautiful skill, and they practice. Now it's just like, notice it. Anytime they get inside the 40, excuse me, anytime they get inside the 40, that ball is down, they punt like this, and that ball is doing this. And you know what? There's really no guessing to it. It's just the way that ball bounces is the way it's going to go.
Is the way it
you
plays.
look at the percentage is like 50-50. So your best bet is to save those bodies. I'm going to point it left. If you make a mistake, it's going to either be a little short or you got to cover it. It's to the right. So that was my coaching for 20 years at RCC. And in 1989, we were undefeated national champions.
Wow. Bless you. Bless you.
Very nice.
That is really cool.
So we played Palomar, Preston, but back then.
Yeah.
We played Palomar, we played Mount Sac, Grossmont. I don't know if you guys remember Joe Roth. Roth, he got into the pros, first round draft pick, but he passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the number 1 draft pick of the, I believe, the 49ers. He played with Chuck Muncie.
Yep.
Wow.
But anyways, we go far back, brother.
Yeah, man.
You had some great DBs. You got Pat Thomas and Rob Terry.
Yep.
Yeah.
You had to, my God, what better way to practice? This guy practiced out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And to have those 2 guys defend against you.
Yep.
Yeah. So but no, let me go back to the year that I led the league, Preston, because I was honored. And rookie, gosh, we get up there and oh my goodness. But the bottom line is, you don't get there on your own.
Right.
I mean, for for me to have kicked that many field goals, and I think they're averaging about that nowadays, and to have been able to lead it, it was about a team effort. It was about all those guys on special teams. Everybody talks about special teams, but I think we set the tone, press, when Paul Lanham got in there and he started making us just believe in ourselves, believing in the fact that each and every one of us could do. And remember, our special team logo, it takes balls to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those guys are psychotic, those gunners.
I'm telling
They're
you.
psychos.
And you know who I have a lot of respect for is Jackie's son.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Matt Slater.
he's still
Matthew
there. I don't know if
Slater.
he's still there or not, but I know he was special teams most of the time.
Yeah. Pro Bowler.
All the time.
Multiple time
Yeah.
Pro Bowler, Matthew Slater. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Very cool.
And so back to that, it's a team effort. Couldn't have done it on my own. No way, no way. The punting was because you guys know, in what was it? In that particular year was 79, 80. We were going down to a 53-man roster, right? 49. And so they needed that extra man. They approached me and said, would you be willing to try out? And there was a lot of conditions involved, which at that time, I thought it'd be good. You think about being a loyal player. You're young. You're doing it. And so I took it on. And there was a lot of pros and some cons, to be honest with you. I mean, they can't do it nowadays.
Right.
No way will your leg. Remember, Preston, I had to do all the opposing teams stuff, the opposing teams kickoffs, punts, everything. So it came a time at the end of the year that I actually asked Vinny and Jeff Rutledge if they throw the ball instead of me punting it because my leg was becoming lead.
Wow, that is a challenge. Yeah.
Practice was worse than the games. You're doing 100 reps in practice. You're doing 5 or 6 punts, 4 or 3 field goals, and a couple kickoffs.
Frank, what did that do to your body? I mean, if you don't mind sharing.
Well, I know the torque on my right hip took a toll on it.
Really?
And then I know my L4 and L5. Just in talking, because I have a pain management guy, I'm able to walk. I'm going to be good. I just had July 17th, we did our second, they call it a revision on the hip. Because they didn't put a liner on the cup and all this good stuff. It just gets very, very technical in there. And finally, I just said, look, just get me well. I'll be able to walk. I'm able to do all that stuff. I don't know about punting or kicking anymore, but but we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. But
good to hear.
Brother, I see some of our former teammates, man. And yeah. And then here's the other thing. They give us a health reimbursement. I don't know if anybody's used it.
Oh yeah, they got to use it.
Yeah, but I don't know if anybody.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, let me
Tell me.
let me ask you this. Obviously, you were a trendsetter back in the day, Mexican American football player. At that time, we had Manny Fernandez. We had probably a handful of guys. And what did that mean for you to contribute in the game of football? How did you feel being what we would call a trendsetter back then?
Right. Well, I'm Mexican. I was born in Mexico. I've always taken that as a pride and as a privilege. But I became an American citizen. And that is my ultimate, our kids are served in the service. I got a lot of law enforcement in my family, everything about the United States, including the fact that I worked for them for 30 years.
Wow.
Being a trendsetter and just, it's just like right now, Preston, everybody's saying, seeing somebody like that looks like me may start my dream going that way. But if I see somebody that looks the same, and then I run into that world and find out it is the same, you kind of backpedal and say, my God, I don't know if I belong.
Ah,
interesting.
Look, I got cut from high school. I got cut from junior college. I had to fight my way through there and with no animosity whatsoever. I mean, I love where I grew up. I love Riverside. I worked there, and I would do everything I could to help them out because I love that city. It gave me a lot. But on the same token, it wasn't a smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm.
There was challenges along the way.
Like everybody else, you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Preston. But it was a little rougher going from a strictly Latino
Yeah.
into, oh my gosh, it was. And now look at where it's at. It's predominantly Latino, that whole area.
Yeah.
So it's the trends have changed. Now you go over there and say what a grinder is, and they're going to tell you we don't serve those burritos and tacos.
Go 30 miles that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep going.
Just to touch on this is I love the high school I went to. We're always doing things for them. I guess I just put something on Facebook not too long ago, Preston. It's like I'm not angry anymore, and I'm not upset that I didn't eat the vegetables. I took a little slice of that meat. I'm not upset anymore that I hear that little old lady tell me 5-6 times what that is. You know that?
Wow.
There's a lot of things I'm not upset no more about. But
That's good to hear.
I am glad to know the fact that we were teammates and we had that little journey, brother.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is special.
I mean, I have to ask for the fans. I represent the fans on this crazy little show.
Yeah, he does.
We're gotta get into some Ram talk because it's remarkable what you did over a few years there with this guy. But first, I think every fan who now knows how close you guys are, we want to hear some stories from the apartment that involved Reggie Doss, Preston Denard, and Frank Corral. What do we got here, guys? What do we got here? I'm asking for the fans. Is there anything you can share that is PG or G from the 70s?
I'm going to yield to my teammate there.
I mean, that's a roommate
I might
crew.
get us all in trouble.
There's a little lounge in there, right? Everybody.
Oh, there's a lounge. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, yeah. There was a lounge, and everybody has their little rooms. They go to the little rooms. I had the first one. It was the smallest one.
Yeah.
Preston and Doss they say they roomed together, but it was a bigger room. Is what he didn't say.
How big a room?
And then there was another little room. But anyways, there was a lounge in there, and at the end of the night check, they do the room checks, right? 11 o'clock.
Bed check, yeah.
Everybody be running to try to get in on time, and we get ready for check-in and all this good stuff. These guys on their Fruit of the Looms, because we didn't have these fancy underwear, would be running around in that lounge with their little speakers on their shoulders. And I had my little La Bamba in my room.
Oh, it was a party going on.
It was going on.
Oh, my.
We were tired anyways, but for half an hour, 45 minutes, we kind of wind down.
Oh, yeah.
We hit it. So it was,
None of this is pictured on your football cards, guys.
No, not
like
at all.
Nothing.
Not at
You
all.
guys just look like your typical '70s studs. A lot of chest meat, great hair. None of this. What's going on in the frat house after hours?
Reggie would bring a brown bag full of candy.
Oh, we talked about that on the show when we had him, and I tell you.
And he was my roommate when we traveled.
Yeah.
Full of candy, and I'll tell you what, you think he would share?
No.
Oh my
No,
God,
he
it's
didn't
pulling teeth. It's pulling teeth.
Yeah, he ain't giving up those Snickers.
And look at him now, my God. I'm looking at him, I said, brother,
Slim and trim.
I don't think I would have argued with Reggie Doss back in the day.
You know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, not at all. It was a wonderful time back then. It sure was. And I mean, just think, one of the things I was talking to Stacy before we came on is I'm going to ask Frank. I'm going to see how many of the draft picks he can recall. And we all know number one, the Cock, Elvis Peacock.
Yes.
Who was number 2 that year?
Eddie Hill.
Oh, it was Eddie Hill. They took 2 running backs.
What was it? Eddie Hill and Drew?
Oh, am I
No,
going to have
they
to fact
came in
check
83.
you guys?
No, they came later. I mean, not 83, but they came in like 81 or 80 or 81.
Well, there was Hill and then Drew Hill, right?
Well, Drew came later. He wasn't in our class, so it was you and I.
Okay. So you're right. Was it
You
Eddie
guys
Hill?
are forgetting. You're forgetting a defensive tackle in here, Mr. Stan Johnson. Was brought on, as well as Ron Smith in the second
for
round.
a minute.
And
Yeah,
Baby
Stan
Cakes.
was there for a minute.
Wasn't Baby Cakes? Is that Stan Johnson?
Baby Cakes, yep. And
He came in his
Ron
Lincoln. remember?
Smith.
Cakes.
He came in his pink Lincoln to camp.
Oh, we
Yeah.
had some characters.
Reggie Dawes goes, "That's baby cakes."
That's baby.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That was his
Wow.
name in camp.
All right, Frank, we got to get
Unbelievable
to something
baby
that
cakes.
Stacy and I have been screaming about.
Okay.
And he couldn't wait because he wants to hear this because he saw something. He wrote something up about the NFC Conference Championship game that we happened to win 9-0. And he said Frank Corral was the star, but I put in there and PD because somebody had to get us in the field goal range. And I remember they took a touchdown from me. Remember that?
I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh. And
I
then
remember that.
Frank kicks him.
But
Oh, it was
listen,
great.
Yep.
Also, it was a defensive battle.
Yes, it was.
If you get that, there's a tape out there somewhere where you can hear nothing but clashing and clashing. And one of the ones was with blood hitting Williams.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and I think he
Ricky Williams.
fractured his jaw.
Yeah. Oh, he made. Yeah, I think so.
Listen to this because I busted my jaw in college in '77, and then so a guy and I played with each other at the Senior Bowl on the same team, and so he knew I had busted my jaw. So when he got his jaw busted, he came to our locker room after that game, Preston,
Did he really?
and we talked a little bit. He goes, "You know what happened to me, right?" And we talked. I go, "Yeah." He goes, "They're gonna wire me shut." I said, "You know what? Have them loosen a tooth way back there so you can squeeze in some French fries."
What?
Oh my God! The honest to God truth. Honest to God truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Corral.
Asked him that. I just ran into him a couple months ago, and I said, he goes, "Frank, I loosened that tooth, and it was the best thing I ever did."
That is so funny.
Oh my
We
God.
pass all kinds of little tricks here and there, brother.
Oh, we did. Hey,
That game featured so many iconic players.
Yeah.
You two, Frank, you ended up doing the only scoring in the game. We got Leroy Selman. Didn't Jack Youngblood break his leg in that game?
not that game. Well,
Or was
wasn't
it
that
the
game,
one-
was it?
Oh,
it
because
was
he
the
played in
game
the Super
before.
Bowl with busted
it
leg.
was that game.
It was that game. Okay.
It was,
And Pat.
All right.
he cracked the fibula, I believe it was.
He
Unbelievable.
cracked a fibula or he had a scratch?
It was like
And
a
we
scratch
played
in
it
my-
up.
In my
and-
opinion, it was a scratch because if he really busted it, and
Yeah,
we
he
know
did.
what a busted leg is, we know what hurt is, we know what an Achilles is, and all that good stuff. A fibula is just a little thing. You tape it up, shoot. Back then they shot it with cortisone. You know,
Just
shoot
tape
it with
it up.
cortisone, and you're good to go.
Hey,
My
Jack
God.
was good to go, too.
How times have changed. We came to learn that Pat Thomas was playing on a shredded Achilles tendon covering Lynn Swan and John Stallworth a couple
See,
weeks
and I
later.
didn't know that back then.
Yeah,
I didn't know it back then.
yeah.
Well, Frank,
He limped off right. Okay, so what was it? We had just punted, and the defense was coming in, and PT was coming on. Him and Rod were running in, and he was like limping it, right.
yeah.
And so when he came back off and we were coming in, I said, he goes, "Man, Pooh, I think I got something right here on my calf." Shields hurt him.
Yeah.
They
Clarence
looked into
Shields.
it, and I didn't know what happened after that. But that was a conversation he and I had on the sidelines that he had just.
Man.
Wow.
And I don't know how bad. We never talked about it, Preston.
Yeah. No, I don't
That's
think
what I
anybody
feel right
actually
now.
knew. And he played through it.
Yeah.
Real
Wow, has
warriors
the
back
game
then.
changed.
That's one thing I can be proud of. I played with real warriors and champions. And those teams we played on together, those were some unique guys we came into the league with. The Jack Youngbloods, Jim Youngbloods, Hacksaw, all that offensive line, all those guys. Oh,
Absolutely.
Rich Stahl, Mack, all of them. Just
You know,
outstanding players.
And to think every team had the almost identical players.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
after
different
we all
league.
transitioned to different teams, Brew going to Miami and
Yeah, Miami.
Hacksaw
Brzezinski did.
to the 49ers, Wendell to 49ers, and you
Mm-hmm.
going to Green Bay, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So
And
I went to USFL, but here's
Right.
the thing: we all transitioned to different things, but in my opinion, our core of a taste of the NFL came from that group of guys,
Yeah.
that environment. That when I went off, I kind of was already secured and protected by knowing I was there.
Interesting.
That I went through those situations, adversity, if you will.
Mhm.
getting cut, and then you come up and you're able to breathe, and you say, you know what, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. I wanted to ask you, Frank, because I've got a bunch of pictures from when I was a kid. I'm just a little bit younger than you two, but not much. But I watched you guys. Those are my favorite Rams teams. I say it all the time. I got a lot of pictures of you and that guy who held for you,
Nolan?
who is
No,
featured behind me here, and is one of my all-time favorite players ever, ever, ever.
He's a great guy.
How important was that relationship between you two for us fans watching you for years? You two trot out there.
We had I didn't have to do anything. I just look at him and just everything was done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even when we ran fakes left and right.
Yep. Yep.
We ran fakes where I scored, where he scored, where he threw a pass to I think he threw a pass to Doug France one time.
Yep,
That was
he did.
eligible, tackle eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Doug scored. I mean, very talented individual. He lives up the street from me.
It's crazy. I love that.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is great. Well, there's a lot of iconic. Every picture of you almost always features him.
But listen,
And it's special.
When it comes to kicking, it's a three-man syndrome. It's a snapper, the holder, and the kicker. You cannot do it without Dougie putting that ball in Nolan's hand, and Nolan
Doug
can't
Smith.
do it without me coming through with a kick.
Ugh.
So it's a 1-2-3 punch, and then of course you got the line. It's a team effort, but you know it was 1-2-3. That's if you look at the kickers, that's the rhythm it is. That snapper is as important, that holder's as important, and of course same as the kicker.
Wow.
Yeah,
Laces
that's
out. Love it. It's great to know just how much you relied on those guys, and
Oh my goodness.
I don't think the fans appreciate it. And we have to revisit it.
Oh yeah, because that's a serious deal.
Yep.
Frank, you had a long career. You had a really wonderful career. I think it equaled mine. I played 8 years. You had a chance to play in the USFL. I remember when the World League came out, and remember that, and they screamed at us, "Hey, don't go over there! Don't go over there!" But you ended up playing in the USFL.
Well,
Could have been a lot of difference or whatever. But tell us about that experience, and then I also want to know your interpretation of the kicking game beyond those years, what it's turned out to be. Is it that much different?
in the USFL.
Well, you're just outside of the pro game, but you did go to USFL. Was there any difference there in how they conducted special teams? And what do you think of the game, kicking game today?
Well, Preston, if you look at the players that went to the USFL, they're all former NFL players.
That's true.
Jim Kelly, Herschel Walker, Steve Young.
Yeah.
My goodness. You know, I could go on and on and on. Stan White.
Reggie White. Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, those players, and then here's the thing. George Allen recruited us to come to the USFL. I got paid better in the USFL than I was
heck
paid
yeah.
in the NFL.
Heck
Wow.
yeah.
And that's probably the reason why the USFL folded. You know, but the bad thing is, and that's the thing we're fighting, all the players that I mentioned plus more are still fighting the retroactive because we were part of the USFL's existing right now.
Yeah.
And back then it was still part of the collective professional collective bargaining agreement. We were paying dues back then. All our question is, okay, those dues were being paid into the NFLPA. Okay, so we should be part of that. And it's a big old mix-up. But if it gets fixed, that's fine. If not, so be it. But there's 4 years also that I played in there. So you can imagine that's a good longevity and a good way to get some extra income, which we would all love. But right now, it's in this. I don't even know what stages. I know it's beyond the beginning stages, and it's a ways yet to go to court, and they're hoping that it settles.
Who represents you guys as players in a situation like that?
Well, it should be the NFLPA, but right now it's private lawyers private money went in there, and mostly it's guys like Jim Kelly and Young and Herschel that should be heading this fight.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the big names.
Yeah,
That's a good
You know,
point.
so they're the ones that should be heading it. How important it is to them, we don't know yet. So we can leave it at that.
Wow. I hope you guys get that. I was looking back at your career too, Frank, and remembering your 85 Houston Gamblers team. And I thought, how ironic they had Frank Corral and Tony Fritsch
Right.
Tony
Like
Fritz.
two of the best known kickers from the era I grew in the late 70s, early 80s. It's like, and they went to the USFL. They were like the kicker guys.
And listen, Tony was a marvelous guy, great kicker, great soccer player. But
Wow.
they brought me in to do the punting,
Mhm.
and then to do the long field goals, which we had a couple of them, and that was it. Our agreement was I do the punting, Tony kicked the short field goals and all that stuff, and I kicked the long ones. And Jack Pardee was the coach,
Mhm.
and the question came up in special teams, what do we consider long? And Tony goes, well, 55. And I said, and they looked at me, and McLean was the special teams coach. He goes, what about you, Frank? I said, well, I would say 35. Tony could put 35 in, and I'll take anything after.
Good for you.
That a boy. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
that was
it.
just team humor and stuff like that. But he was a great guy.
Frank, what's it like for a kicker when you got to kick a game winner?
Ooh.
What's it like mentally, emotionally? Can you give us a 30-second snapshot on that? I mean, this is back in your day. Today, Las Vegas is involved, and there's all sorts of insanity. But for Frank Corral, game is on the line.
You're groomed to do it when that moment comes. That's what you look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, you're going to get your shot here and there, but when it's on the line and your number's called, even if it's a 55 longer, that's what you want. You want that shot. Preston wants that shot, wide out, post, whatever.
Yeah.
Give me the ball.
Yeah.
Really?
Give me the ball.
That's a lot. That's a kicker's mentality. Give me the
Kicker's
ball.
mentality.
That was
Yeah.
mine.
I love it.
That was mine.
Bookmark that. That's so cool.
Hey, do kickers work out as far as lifting weights?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, they do now, or did they always?
I think we did. I think most of us took pride in our at first you come in and you wonder, and then you take pride. You take pride in this kid, and I don't know him. This kid that's the punter, and he does the kickoffs for the Rams. Supposedly, this kid can leg press tremendous weights,
Wow.
and
Really?
and his booting is just out of this world. I see one of his punts, and it amazes me. I mean, the kid is he's talented.
This is this year's punter, the new guy.
The new kid, yeah, he's
He's in the top five in the league right now. I think everyone's a little surprised.
yeah,
He's a good one. He's a good one.
Yeah, and apparently, I mean, back then we didn't want to lift too much weights because we thought our flexibility would hinder our flexibility and be able to follow through. But this kid just pops that ball, man, and I tell you what, it goes.
I'll tell you, Frank, I visit for the last 20 years. I go to Tulum, Mexico. It's changing a lot, subject for another day. I went there when it was a dirt road. And they have in the middle of the town square, those Mexican kids play soccer at night.
Yeah.
And I've sat there by myself and got goosebumps at watching a 10-year-old kick the ball with a velocity I have never seen an adult male kick with.
Right.
I mean, it is unbelievable. And they're in this little town under a blinking light, and they're kicking so hard, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrifying.
It's true. But listen, do you know that Mexico has American teams in college?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have a nephew that plays. They're called
Oh.
the University Autónoma, but they're called borregos, which is in English is goats or ram. They have the
really?
ram logo. Yes,
Yeah.
and they're actually
Wow.
scholarship.
That's awesome.
We're getting a little education here.
Think about all the teams that are going down there to play the Rams.
Yeah.
Oh,
down
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
All the NFL teams that are going down there.
Oh, we're going to have a team there. I mean, I don't see why not.
I think that's their intention.
Yeah. A lot of Rams
I mean,
fans in
Europe.
Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Amazing.
Good
Amazing.
stuff.
Frank,
Good
this
stuff.
is, as usual, we're running out of time, and this happens to us every week. And I always walk away and think, I want another hour with that guy. Amazing. There's so much we could talk about. Thanks for all of the insights. It's at this point that I turn it over to your teammate, or should I say former roommate, Candy eater and Dodger of the Turk, number
Oh.
88, Mr.
Wait,
Preston
wait.
Denard.
Doss
We
was
got
a
to straighten that out. There's no candy eating here, baby. Let me tell you.
Reggie Doss
Okay.
was a
That
candy
was
eater.
Reggie Doss.
Reggie,
Yeah, Reggie Doss was a candy
We
eater.
both had the experience watching Reggie bring bags of candy.
Reggie was not a good sharer, apparently.
Not at all. Well,
He'd be in our meeting rooms with a bag of candy, and everybody'd be looking at him.
Wow.
Reggie's going to jump on both of us for telling
I
that
know.
story.
That is
He knows we do
hilarious.
that all the time.
He was so mean looking. I don't know who'd argue with him. I'd be like, okay, have your candy, man.
Oh, no, that's pretty boy. He's a big pretty boy. Come
Oh
on.
yeah, he is.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he is.
Big D. All right. Well, we come to the hour for the segment that's called the 2-minute drill. Just a wonderful experience that we take people through, and it's your opinion and it's your assessment one way or another, but it's rapid fire. So we want to drill you with these little insights and see what your responses are going to be. There's no wrong or right. It's just your choice. You ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Okay. Number
Give him the
one.
ball.
Give him the ball. Here we
Give him
go.
the
I'm
ball.
setting it up on the tee. Oh, he don't use the tee. He kicks off the ground. Grass or turf?
Grass.
Love it. Love it. Your favorite movie?
Rocky 2.
Oh, he's rolling over there.
Solid choice.
All right. Here's a tough one, my friend. I snuck this one in on Stacy. Would you have a favorite? Either punt, kick, or do both?
I ended up with both.
Oh, we ain't gonna change the narrative then.
Give him the
Okay.
ball.
Oh, give him the ball. All right, ready? All right, here's the next one. Your most underrated teammate at any level.
You.
Oh
Oh,
man.
wow. That's great. I agree, by the way.
I can't go on.
You guys want to
Okay.
hug it out?
Does that
I just
mean-
want to hug him.
I agree with that
I told you the
assessment.
story. I've never told anybody. You never heard it. I honestly was sitting with Jack Klosterman, and he said, "Look at that stallion right there going up for that ball." And I looked up, and it was Preston Denard.
Oh man.
Pride of
Never
New
forgot it.
Mexico.
I needed to share it before.
Yeah, thank you, baby. Thank
now
you.
it's on your court, brother.
Yeah, it is.
I'm honored to you, man. Because
Hold
that's
on.
what I got through.
I'm holding off for a few more seconds. You got any more to add? No, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Your greatest football achievement, personally.
Oh boy, probably making the squad.
Oh,
Very cool.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Remember, even though Marvin Demoff was my attorney or agent,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
and even though I was a third rounder, he says, Frank, there's been first rounders that have been cut.
Yep.
So don't lose your focus. And
Yeah.
so my whole, remember, I had to compete against Raphael Septien.
Yeah,
he
you
was,
sure
he was
did.
all pro before me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a tough little fight. And then I had to also compete against Glenn Walker, which at that time was the punter. The punting wasn't so much. I just needed to concentrate more on the kicking, which I did. But either way, here's what happened, Preston. And I don't know how this happens nowadays, but the Raiders approached me and the Cowboys approached me. They said, don't even worry about it. One of us is going to take you.
Hmm.
Interesting.
So
like
look at where Septien went. He went to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He sure did. He sure did.
Yeah, and I don't know
He's a
if
good
it
kicker,
would have
too.
been me. Believe me, I tossed it around. What if it would have been me?
Oh,
The Raiders
Yeah.
with Steve, what's Steve's, Ortmeyer.
Ortmeyer,
Was-
yeah, yeah.
Was the general manager, and he said, Frank, you got a spot over here.
Yeah.
that is so
Well,
in your
looks
hometown.
like the sun's going down on you. I better get this last question in on you, my friend.
You got it.
Who plays you in a movie about your life?
Wow.
Oh, we stumped him there.
I don't know any of these new kids, but
They don't have to be new. They could be an old Clark Gable or somebody.
well, you know what? I'll tell you what. And this guy's been on my mind because he was one of the first Latinos. His name is Joe Cap.
Joe Cap. Yes, yes.
Nice choice.
He's just been circling around because being Hispanic Heritage Month,
Mhm.
and then on the 16th, what it means to the Mexican community, and then Cinco de Mayo. So this guy's been surfacing a lot, and I've been seeing him a lot, and I didn't know much about him. I was too busy, and it's a shame, and it's bad in my part. Too busy trying to make my own little path, And so when I did get to the pros, I heard about Joe, and then recently, I really found out how significant he was in the football world, in the NFL, and in social life, and so he's one that I would like to just tilt my hat to.
Very
Outstanding.
cool.
Outstanding,
He was
man.
such
Very
a tough
cool.
guy at a quarterback. God, he was a tough guy.
Yeah, he was. Well, my friend, that is the end of the segment of the 2-minute drill. Frank, we want to thank you so much. So I'm going to let Stacy do the farewells on this thing formally. But my friend, I just want to tell you, thank you for joining us. Great insights. A couple of things I didn't remember that you brought back. So I'm just so proud of you, and glad you are in Southern California. I can see the sun going down on you.
Going down.
It's going down.
It's going down on the YouTube
But
channel.
baby, you look good in the dark.
Look at that. It's
Put a little
beautiful.
light. I'm right here.
This has been an absolute pleasure, Frank Corral. Absolute pleasure. I will say this. I'm going to put a bug in your ear because you strike me as the leadership type. If you could get a few minutes with Kevin Demoff and have a conversation about the current uniforms, there's a lot of us that would be really appreciative to see the old stuff come back.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody can get in Kevin's ear. I mean, we tried. But you know what?
Good, thank you.
Hopefully, the fans will have a say. They feel the same way.
Really?
Oh,
They
absolutely.
feel the same way.
Yes.
He has bad taste, and it's all on him.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I love it. What a pleasure for all the Rams fans out there, USFL, our friends at UCLA, the iconic Frank Corral. Thank you so much for joining myself and your teammate, Mr. Preston Denard. Big thanks. For anybody listening or watching in on YouTube, you can find Gridiron Icon, the podcast, everywhere. Follow us, join us, comment on Twitter, all the other social media outlets. And for myself, Preston Denard, and the guy who went 9-0 to get us into the Super Bowl,
Yeah, he
the great
did.
Frank Corral. We will see you all next week. Thanks again.